Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Drew and today I'm going to be showing you every single book I am unhauling or getting rid of and why. So it's a giant stack. Like, this is a lot of books. Okay, I just counted and it's 15 books, which is pretty crazy. So before I show you all the books, I just want to say that recently I've been thinking about the books and like media that I've been consuming, and instead of just consuming it without, thinking about it, I want to like really pay attention to what I'm consuming and I don't know how to say this, but like possibly like be stricter with what I consume, like which books I consume. And obviously if I show one of these books that I'm getting rid of and say that like I didn't like it or something like that, and it's your favorite book, no hate. I'm not trying to like act like I'm better than anyone because I didn't like a certain book or getting rid of it, or I don't want to like consume these kind of books anymore. Like, no hate at all. Obviously everyone can choose whatever they want to read, so hopefully no one feels attacked. But yeah, so I just wanted to like go through my bookshelf recently and take out all the books that I know that I'm definitely never gonna read again. I could have liked them when I read them first and possibly rated them like 4 stars, but I just know that I'm not going to reread them, and so to me there's really no point in keeping the book. Eventually in the future, if I do want to reread it, I can get it from the library, I could buy it again. Like, I'm not worried about that, but I just have so many books that I want to read and want to read again and want to bring in, and I'm running out of space on my bookshelf, so I need to get rid of some books that are just taking up, space. With that all being said, let's just get into it. First, we're gonna start with the Dreamland Billionaire series. I have read the first book like 2 years ago. It was like a long time ago, and I did really like it. And recently I bought the second book to read because I wanted to complete the series. But I do think I am going to read this book, so I'm gonna read it and then get rid of it. But I know that I'm gonna get rid of it, but I'm probably not gonna read the third book. I don't know. I feel like it's a fun read. Like, these books are just fun if you just want to escape into a different world and you don't really want to think too hard. So like, I think that these are enjoyable, but I just don't think I'm gonna reread them, or they're not my favorite romance books of all time, so there's no reason to keep them. Okay, that's kind of the same thing with the, what's this called? The Chestnut Spring series. I have read the first book. I haven't read the second book, but I got it. I read this recently too, but I got this recently to read. I am gonna read it. I kind of feel bad like spending my money on books and then just not reading it. So I am gonna read this to get my money's worth, but I'm not gonna keep these books. I'm not gonna read the rest of the series. I already know. Like, even no matter how fun this is to read, I know that I'm not gonna read the rest of the series. So getting rid of these 2 books, I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to be more picky about which romance books I read. Like, obviously I read other genres as well, but recently I've been thinking like, I've been trying not to just buy a romance book because the cover is cute. Like, these are cute covers and I like the colors, but I've been trying not to buy books off of that, which I feel like I've done in the past, especially with romance. And I'm gonna try to, be more picky with what romance books I read, because it's not like the biggest genre I read. The biggest genre I read is probably mystery, and I like that one the best. And I'm also getting more into like classics and poetry and like short stories. So I don't know, I just want to try to pick quality over quantity romance books. No hate. Okay, next we have The Spanish Love Deception and The American Roommate Experiment. I read both of these quite a while ago. I loved both of them. I think they were fun, but I know I'm not going to reread them. I haven't. Like, there's so many books that I want to read. I just don't have time to reread books that aren't my favorite in the world or inspired me, or, I want to get more out of, like find deeper meanings and like catch, little things. These I'm not going to reread. And yeah, I'm going to get rid of these. And if you'll notice too, I feel like all the books I'm getting rid of, most of them are romance books that I just bought because they were popular and then read, and I did enjoy some of them, but I'm just not going to reread them, and I don't know why I've kept them so long, so it's time to just get rid of them. Okay, next book I'm getting rid of is We Were Liars, and I read this book twice actually, because the first time I read it, I didn't understand it, and I was like really confused, and I was like, what the heck? Like, If you read this, you know that the ending can kind of be like a little confusing, and like it takes like a second for you to like process, and you're like, wait, what just happened? So like I wanted to read this again, and it's like gotten so much hype that I was like, it must be really good. I just must not be understanding it, because I wasn't like in love with it when I first read it. So I read it again, actually during my like 24-hour reading video or whatever. So I feel like I shouldn't have done that, because I was so tired. I read this at like 3 a.m. that I barely even remember the second time. And I feel like I also didn't understand it because I was so tired. But I read this again and I understand more of it, I guess, but also I'm just not really blown away by it. Like, I've read better thriller, you know, mystery books, or books, you know, that were kind of similar to this. And it's just not for me. Okay, if you've watched my YouTube shorts and you watched like my series where I'm trying to read my full physical TBR, you know that I read this recently and that it's been on my TBR for like years, like since 2022, 2023. So I've had this book for a long time and it was really disappointing. It is a mystery, or like, yeah, like a mystery thriller, and there's like a car crash and he can't remember anything, and then he has to figure out the mystery. Stuff like that. I've definitely read that trope before, and it's getting old, and I think I was not, I guess, wanting that kind of trope when I read this, and so it kind of just ruined that for me, because I felt like that the trope where it's like the girlfriend and boyfriend are in the car and they have an argument and then they crash, and then one of them wakes up, you know, in the hospital, but they can't remember the crash, and then one of them is missing. Like I've read so many books like that and I'm just tired of it. So this one was disappointing. I just didn't like this book. Okay, next we have 2 poetry books, which I actually have started getting into poetry now, like this year, but I did start reading some like a few years ago, but really only like poetry books that like were popular online, that I like learned of online, not by going to the bookstore. But now I'm kind of like broadening my horizons. Anyways, one of those poetry books is Milk and Honey. I'm sure you all have heard of this book if you're like on Instagram, but yeah, if you read this, you know, I mean, maybe you really related and you really enjoyed this, but if you read this, you know that it's like, I don't know, just, I hate all the blank space. Like, here's this one. Like 2 lines and then just like a tree died for this, and I don't think it was worth it. And I'm sorry if I'm being mean, but I do like all the little illustrations in this book. Like, I think they do add something. Like, I do like that, but also this book was just kind of gross. I don't know, I should shut up about this because, yeah, too many blank pages for me. And I don't know, I read it and some, I can't even remember the poems in here, honestly. Some I think were fine, but most just weren't for me. Next, we have another poetry book, and this is one that I got recently, Save Me an Orange, and it's like, just, I don't know, I think someone in like the Goodreads like reviews was saying that this was like a TikToker who posted this, or they were promoting their, you know, poetry collection on TikTok. So I'm assuming it's just like a self-published work, but it was really intriguing to me. I really like the title. I picked it up in the bookstore without even knowing about, you know, the online presence of this book. But yeah, there's a lot of blank pages, which is something I just don't like. Like, write a poem that's long enough to fill the whole page, or add something to fill in this blank page, because I just don't like all the blank pages, but I do like the little headings. But yeah, I really like this concept of like kind of themed around oranges, because I do really like oranges, and I have written about orange trees in my own poetry. I don't know though, I just didn't really resonate with any of these poems. They were like nothing really special to me. And yeah, I wanted to support, you know, an independent author, but I'm already gonna get rid of this. Okay, we're nearing the end, and we have The Locked Door. So this was one of the Frida McFadden books that I actually did like and I did want to keep. I'm never gonna reread it though, and it's just taking up room on my shelf. I think it was okay. I think I've said before on my channel how I only liked, what was it? The Housemaid. Yeah, that was the first Frida McFadden book I've read, and that was the only one I liked. I think all The rest are predictable. This one, I don't think it was as predictable for me because this was like the second book I read, so I thought it was better. But the third, the fourth, eventually it's okay. It's fine if she wants to write all her mystery in like a format, but that format gets really predictable and really overused by book 50. Like if you read all her books relatively close together and you kind of still remember, you know, the plot of the other book that you read, the next book is going to be similar to that plot. It's just like the same format, input, new setting, new characters, new like hobbies that they have or whatever, but it's the same thing. And I don't know, I think there's better mystery books out there that I want to read, and so I don't have room for this. Next we have the infamous Icebreaker and Wildfire. These books get a lot of hate, but also a lot of hype. I read both of them pretty close together a few years ago, and I said I liked them at the time. I think at the time they were just fun to read. Now though, I don't want these on my shelves. Like, if you know what's in these, you know what's in these, and I don't want this type of content on my shelves. And I know that book like tastes and opinions and I guess just like what you want to read changes over time, and I didn't think that like that would ever happen to me, honestly. Like I thought I would like what I like for the rest of my life, but I can definitely see the change that I've had in my book taste through these books, because at the time I was totally fine with them. I just read them. I was like, yeah, I don't know why people are hating. Like, sure, there's a lot of, you know, that stuff in here, but like the rest of the story is fun. Now I'm like, no. Like, I just don't want that on my shelf. So I'm getting rid of these two, and I'm not gonna read what is it, like Daydream or something like that, the third book in this series. I'm not gonna read that. And that's another thing. I just recently have decided, like, I want to try to stay away from books that have explicit content, let's just say, because I just don't want to read that anymore. I don't. Okay, last two books, part of a series. We have Twisted Love and Twisted Games. I have read both of these quite recently, and I like this book better than this book. I felt like this one had more of a plot than this one. Yeah, I can't even remember the plot of this one, honestly. And I did like this one. Like, I feel like it was interesting because she was a princess, and it was like, you know, she went to like her home country, and it was like a whole different system, like class system, or, you know, like all the royal stuff. I don't know. I thought that was more interesting than this one. I can't, like, she had some trauma, I think. I don't know. But I'm not gonna continue the series. I thought I was, but I'm just not. It's basically like, these are basically like these other two as well. Like, they're fun to read in the moment, all of these, but I'm not gonna reread them again. I don't want them on my shelf because this is taking up so much space, and I'm not like in love with like the main characters. Like, I'm not, like, I don't feel like really attached to them. So okay, well, that was today's video. Hopefully I didn't hurt your feelings. Sorry if I did. I want everybody to read whatever they want and be able to read whatever they want. So if you like any of these books, I'm not judging you for liking them. I used to like them too. But I just don't really want to read them anymore. And I want to expand my reading horizon with new books that aren't like popular on TikTok. That's my main goal. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you've read any of these books, and like, what are your opinions on them? Did you also unhaul them? Do you like them? Are you keeping them? Do you want to read some of these books and now you don't? Like, or you still do? I don't know. But just like, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.